Yeah. Sweet. Enjoy that. Bon appetit.
My intuition's telling me I'll never listen to myself. I should probably listen to myself. That position I was in, if I'd have listened, maybe I could help.
Anyway, boom! And we're back with another one. It's in
Facts.
Chat.
And you know who it is, myself, Lemzi. That's L-E-M-Z-I, the Gemini.
Cheese.
Come on.
And myself, Amelia Poamz. That's Poamz. The Pisces. I'm so emotional, man.
Why are you emotional?
Because Pisces are emotional, hypersensitive, and very intuitive, and the best star sign, to be honest.
We'll
Everyone,
talk
I
about that at some
made
point,
Lemzi
yeah.
actually say he's a Gemini. You don't actually
Yeah,
really want to
I'm
be.
just a Gemini. I don't know what it means for my life, but I know that people get disgusted when I say it. So
Yeah, well, yeah, they're not
I gotta
really
say it
like
proud.
some-
I gotta wear it on my chest
I don't even know how me and you are friends. Pisces and Gemini.
because it doesn't really mean anything.
No, it does. It means
It doesn't
everything.
really mean anything.
Anyway, we're back now. Episode 2 of the Bring Backs.
Come on.
Yeah. Basically, we are going to have someone joining us very soon. But before that, we got to check in.
Yeah,
Lems.
man. I want to know.
How are you? Really?
Really, the really is
Really
very
and truly.
important, you know, because when people usually just like, how are you? Like, yeah, I'm fine. And you just move on.
Yeah.
How am I really?
How are you really?
Take a moment and let me reflect on that one.
Okay. What do we do in the meantime?
You wait for me, innit?
Okay.
No, I'm actually good. I'm
Okay,
actually
good.
really, really good. Today was an interesting one, man. There was one particular thing that stood out that happened to me today. So at work, we did like a very mini photo shoot on Brick Lane.
Okay.
Literally just to get some quick pictures of the whole team together. And as we're leaving, this guy literally runs up to me and stops me and says, you. Your purpose is huge. Oh my gosh, he stopped me, he dragged me back and told me I have to stop you and tell you, whatever you're doing with your life, you need to keep doing. Do you mind if I pray to you? Can we do it together? And did it like he was on it, chatting like 100 miles an hour and everything. But it was so impactful that I had to just stop and literally just allow the man to just talk to me, pray for me, tell me a little bit about his life story and him guess what I do and all this kind of stuff was happening. And it was probably only about 7 minutes or whatever. But it was a very poignant thing that happened today for me. And I was like, okay.
So at the end, what? That was it? He just wanted to tell you about your purpose? Because I was waiting for him to be like, so
No,
if you
do
just
you know
buy
what?
my booklet.
He was showing, he's a designer, innit? And he was showing me all of his designs on his Instagram.
Okay.
Like, yo, I've done this one. It's not me. It's just coming through me. Good designs. And he's like, yo, if you can just exchange numbers, then we can carry on a conversation. And even when I said, you know what, I don't really just give out my number. He was like, don't even worry about it. If you want, add me on Instagram. And even if you don't want to do that, it's enough that I've been stopped to tell you and deliver this message to you. So that's enough. So I was like, wow, do you know what? This is, it was very real. Very real.
Wow. That is definitely something poignant that happened today.
Yeah, this kind of stuff has happened to me before as well.
Yeah, no, it's true. Yeah, you got that
just-
energy about you.
To just stop me.
Yeah, anyone would think you got a master path life number like I do.
Jeez.
33. If anyone's
34,
into
34 is bigger than 33.
No, but
though, innit?
33 is
So
actually part of the master numbers if you're into numerology,
here we
which
go.
I just
We're
started
going
to get
the
into,
star signs,
and so I don't really know what I'm
we like
talking
3
about. But
minutes
it
into
sounds,
this, yeah.
it sounds. All I read is I've got a
Oh my
master path life
gosh.
number, and my aura is very, very like.
I'm hearing
it's great.
auras, master path number. Let's get back into the space.
Yeah, back into the space. Okay,
But
so that's
in answer to
cool.
your question, yeah, I feel pretty good today.
Good.
Pretty good. And how are you? Really?
Let me be honest. Do you know what? I've had a bit of a wobbly day today. I'll be honest with you. Like, it started off well. Like, I got up, went to the gym. Obviously, now the endorphins and all that are in my body, and I'm feeling good. I'm feeling pumped. Came home, sat working in front of my laptop all day, and then I don't know. I just kind of felt like anxiety started to creep in, but I don't know why. And the thing is, I've been in this kind of space before. So I'm like, oh, here we go. So I was just doing a lot of like managing it, like doing a lot of breathing, some yoga. But with me, I'm a bit of a panicker sometimes. So like, as I was doing the yoga, I was also trying to deep breathe, and I was like, maybe I just need to, and then I was just feel myself panicking, and I was just like,
instead,
not
and then
today. Yeah. And then even all the way on the train here, I'm on the train. I'm like, no, I'm cool. And then I'm like, no, I'm actually cool. And I'm trying to read my book. But you know when you're like moving all the time, and I'm thinking,
and you're convincing yourself you're cool
I'm
the
good,
whole
I'm
time.
good.
Like,
And then at one point, I really could have shouted on the train like, I I'm in control here because this anxiety is taking the piss. Because I started to think to myself, I was like, do you know what? There's been times that this has happened before, and every single time you're fine, Amelia. So actually, let's wrap it up.
Let's get to the end.
Because we know how this ends. I come out on top and you go away. So yeah, so that's how I was really feeling today, and I patterned it just before I got
Just
here.
before, so you're good right now, yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. This is our comfort space, so I want you to, I want you to feel good.
I need that man to come and tell me that I'm doing that.
I should have got his number,
great.
really, innit? I think I do
Yeah.
still know his Instagram. I won't plug it right now, but yeah, later on.
Okay, I'm gonna call him. Bro, what about my energy? My purpose? I'm joking. Anyway, okay, cool. We done our check-in.
Yeah.
That's good.
So you're good.
I'm
Just
good.
before we continue, I want to make sure.
I might need to leave midway. That's what I was thinking. You know, when you just think of the worst case scenarios, like, what if I need to leave midway? What if I just pass out in the middle of the podcast? But that's not gonna happen because I'm good. And you know why that's not gonna happen?
Why?
Because we've got a guest in today.
Is it?
Yeah. I don't know if you know them. I'm joking. I might be like that. But anyway, obviously, I feel like we've spoken about therapy a lot.
Yeah, especially in our last Unpacked.
Yes. And before that, touched on it. I started therapy, all of that. So I think it makes sense that like our first guest is a therapist. And actually a very, very good friend of mine.
And a pretty good friend of mine now, I want to say. Come on.
You're just
Don't
like,
try
you
and
just
separate.
beg.
Don't try and
You
separate
just-
my friendship.
Listen,
man.
loyalty.
Come on, man.
Loyalty.
When she
Degrees of
sits down,
separation. I'm
When this
joking.
person sits down, they'll let you know.
But yeah, man, we have the wonderful Paris the Love that's joining us today. The therapist, good friend of mine, and we're gonna cut it up. I'm gonna speak about therapy, millennials, all of that.
Ghana.
So let's give a round of applause, everyone in the room. You could just like, yeah.
Yeah. First
Alright.
you gotta check in with you, Paris. That's the first one you gotta do, innit?
Yeah, okay. Paris.
Hi guys.
Hey.
Hiya.
How are you?
Really.
That makes me laugh. I'm actually really good. I mean, as a lot of you may know, if you saw my stories and stuff, I came back from Ghana. I was there for 3 weeks. And it's the longest holiday I've ever been on, and I needed it.
Yeah.
I absolutely needed that, because when I go on holiday, I'm the kind of girl that likes to plan and prep.
Yeah.
So you're I'm gonna wake up early. I know I'm gonna be at lunchtime.
Alarm has
This is
been
our
set.
evening plan.
Restaurant set. This is the evening plan.
I know. I've been on holiday with Paris.
You
We went to
schedule the
Paris.
rest. Is like the rest scheduled as well then?
All right. Well, so this is the point I'm trying to get to. When it's like a city holiday, like Paris, there's no rest, because it's like you got 5 days, you've got to make the most of it.
I'm not
But
gonna
I
lie.
guess for Ghana, because we had a longer period of time, I had time to really go out and enjoy and also rest. So that's what made it different.
And was this the first time you'd been to Africa, the continent?
It's the first time I've been to West Africa.
Okay, sick.
And the Africa where I see people that look like me. So I've been to Morocco, but that was a very different experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Nah, I'm happy for you, man. We saw you living life.
No, I lived my
Like-
best life, and I deserved every minute of it.
Absolutely.
Super facts.
You're gonna tell them. Can we please talk about Ghana, because Lemzi, we slacked.
We slacked. I'm not gonna lie. There's a few people I've spoken to who just confirmed I slacked. Like, there's
You
no
did.
other way to put
I
it.
almost feel like Noah's Ark was a thing, and everyone got on a boat, and everyone
Oh
just
my
went
God.
over to
them.
Ghana,
And
and
now
we
they have
missed it.
Instagram and we see them on the
Guys,
boat fly away.
Don't
You
be
think,
so
what?
dramatic.
No.
I mean, I probably would have felt the same. You know that meme with who is it looking over? I think it's Squidward looking at
Oh yeah, out the way.
at SpongeBob and Patrick living their
Oh
best
my
life.
days.
Someone actually sent me that, and I was like, "This is how I feel watching your stories." But if I'm honest, like, this holiday had been a long time coming. Like, I'd planned to go to Ghana properly in 2019,
Oh,
but
wow.
that was when I decided to do my coaching course. So I decided to, I guess, invest in myself, and obviously had to miss out. So when I went this year, I was like, yes, this is why
Yeah.
I always decided to come. I mean, don't get me wrong, the journey towards it was extremely stressful. Like, probably the most stress I've felt in a long time. And before you're going on holiday, you shouldn't feel like that. There was just so much going on with like the rules, and then, you know, accommodation, and, you know, preparation as a woman, you know, your nails, your hair, your lashes. There was just a lot of stress with regards to the build up.
Can I
Plus,
ask, was this the first time you travelled since the whole pandemic situation?
No, so I went to
Okay.
Ibiza in July. That was the first time, and that was actually quite calm. But like I said, that was for like maybe 5 days or so. This one was like long, you know. How do you plan outfits for 3 weeks?
No, it's true.
And I'm serious about my clothes and my style. So yeah, it was a lot. But honestly, once I touched down, I just felt safe. I felt at home. Everyone was just so nice. And yeah, I don't know, like normally when I'm on holiday, I'm really skeptical to travel on my own. There were so many times I travelled on my own, like even really late at night, getting cabs and stuff, and I wouldn't normally do that, but there was just a sense of safety. Part of it also was because I felt like there was so many people there that I knew.
Yeah.
So I had a
Okay,
pocket
so-
of friends here, a pocket of friends there. I had my boyfriend, his family. So it just felt like home away from home.
That's nice.
And that was really nice, yeah.
Oh, that's sick, man.
Because Ghana's quite small as well, isn't it?
So this is what me and Lemzi were talking about earlier, like the difference between going to Ghana and maybe other places in the continent of Africa. It is small because I think on the day 3, I kind of was like, yeah, I know this place, I know that place. No, you walk around like you live there. I'm like, yeah, I know this. And my boyfriend as well was like, can you be careful, please? This is not your country. I was proper so calm and like, it is, I guess, Accra small because that's where we were. We were in the
Okay,
city
yeah,
centre of like Accra. Yeah.
What was like all the COVID restriction? Did they even do?
I
any
was
of that?
shook
'Cause-
at first
Swear.
when the president came and was like wearing masks and this. I was like, are we really going to enjoy this
Wait, came
holiday?
here, sorry?
Like,
Came
no,
and
not in
found
like
He came in the rain.
He came to where we were staying.
like did his announcement.
Okay.
We thought, you know, what he was saying was he had to wear masks and all these kind of things. But when we went there, it was really chilled. I mean, you had to wear masks, enter in some clubs, in some restaurants before you sat down. But other than that, it was really just chill and free.
Okay.
And I know a lot of people obviously were quite skeptical and on edge about possibly catching COVID out there, which I know was a concern for a lot of people. But I kind of just felt, you know what? I'm here now, you know, whether I'm in England or I'm here,
Yeah, exactly, it's
there's
the
a
same thing.
possibility. Let me just enjoy my life.
And at least you're in the sun while you're potentially catching. Ah, man.
Do you know? So I was obviously just enjoying Ghana from the sidelines of Instagram stories and Twitter. And I was like probably one of the first people watching your stories all the time. But I also saw loads of people on Twitter talking about the waiters in Ghana. Like can you tell? Like what? Yeah, what was
were
it
they saying?
about? No, it was like they were like Well, what I could see was like they were super polite, but like didn't really like never would have what people were asking for or something like that.
Mate, I mean, I feel like I've told this story about 1,000 times. I think that was the only downside for
Okay.
me. I ate once a day. And Amelia, you know me and food. I love my food. I ate once a day.
What?
Because if you decided to go out and eat, that was your plan for the day.
Oh, it took that long.
It took that long. There's no sense of urgency whatsoever, which I mean is great for, you know, for them.
Yeah.
There's no one rushing. I feel like in England, you know, everyone's rushing around and it's time and, you know, there's so much happening so quickly. There, it's the complete opposite. So literally people are strolling.
Like they're on holiday too or something.
Taking their time. You'll sit down and it will be half an hour before you get a menu. It's something else. One of my friends was at the Kempinski Hotel and they went there for lunch in the day. Why were they there for 4 hours? Their food came 3 hours late. 3 hours after they ordered. Yeah, I mean, I'm laughing now, but honestly, when you're there, it's so frustrating.
And because they're so polite, it was
That's
like you
it.
can't really.
I mean, you know me. I mean, I'm assertive. I got boundaries.
I can see Rose getting up, walking across the. Excuse me.
Did that kind of stuff work there though?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, by a girl who I went with, she goes literally twice a year. She literally told me she saves up all her annual leave to go to Ghana, which I just think is beautiful. I was like, why don't you open up a business there? Because you're there so often, you might as well. She said you kind of have to be firm and assertive or they just won't do anything. I'm not rude, of course, but you need to assert yourself. And I definitely did that. I was like, excuse me, can we get a menu? You know, we've been waiting a long time. I always kind of call out when there's an issue and concern.
Yeah.
But it kind of felt like you had to do it a lot more than you would normally have to, if that makes sense. Yeah, that's probably one of the down points, the service.
So that's why you were turning up. Everyone was turning up so much.
You just had to drink
Turning
alcohol
up.
just to get over the fact there's no food being served.
Mind you, there was a night out where, again, some guys had got a table. You know, their drinks never came. They paid over $5,000 for their table. They had to literally carry the bucket with their drinks over through a crowd of people to their table. Plus the table had absolutely broken down to the ground.
No way.
So we were basically like sitting around the table and it was split in the middle.
And they paid how much?
About 5K.
No,
In pounds?
I would have been fuming.
No way.
It's expensive too. They've definitely, they're definitely like matched how much it is based on the tourists now. So even when you went to like the fancy bars and stuff, like cocktails were £6, £8, like London. So, I mean, I saved my pennies, so I was ready to give back to the economy. I didn't have an issue with that at all. It was great. It was great.
So Ghana 2022, yeah?
100%.
And I'm coming.
100%.
Coming.
I
we
know
actually
when
have to
the
make it happen,
flights are at.
honestly.
We have to go.
You guys have to come.
In fact, Ghana edition.
Hey.
Do you think?
I'm here
The
for
thing
that.
is, we'll get here and then you'll be sitting here like, "Where's Amelia?" Because
No,
I'm
no,
living
no,
my
no,
best
no, no,
life
no,
with
no,
my
no, no,
Ghanaian
no.
prince.
I'm outside.
That's what I'm doing.
No, you
Doing
guys will
Nige and
do
Ghana.
it.
I'll be
doing
at
both.
Accra on the beach, you know, having a little sip on the beach. The
Little
drink.
microphone in
Drink.
hand, just all right. We're doing a podcast today, guys.
I'm so done.
But dope, man. I love that for you as well. Do you feel like, so was that like everything you needed to kind of go into this like new year now? Are you feeling, how are you actually feeling about this year?
That's a great question because I've been conflicted.
Okay.
As you probably guys have noticed, I'm really consistent on socials and I ain't posted since, I think it was the 31st or the 1st of January. I think I
Okay.
posted on New Year's and haven't posted since. And I'm someone that posts about 3 times a week, if not more. So I've been a little bit distant in regards to like my content, but that's because I'm cooking. I'm cooking in the kitchen. I'm trying to make things, you know, make sense. I'm rebranding.
Okay.
So in that respect, it's quite frustrating because I'm like, I want to post, I want to give people the content, but I'm like, I don't want to rush it. I want to wait until, you know, it feels like I'm speaking to the right audience. I really want to do things intentionally this year. Because one thing I've realized, obviously, as being a therapist is that you can set out your intentions to help everyone, but you can't help everyone. So sometimes when you're speaking to everyone, you're speaking to no one. So that's my current in regards to like my content and business and things like that. But personally, I feel really good. I mean, it's the big 3-0 year for me.
Come on.
And
Come
I know. So again, I felt like I'd feel a lot more anxious, but I'm actually really excited. And I feel like I've stepped into kind of like a new level of Paris and it feels good.
Do you
It
feel like
feels
that's
really good.
from going to Ghana? You feel like you've stepped into a new phase,
I
or is
think
that like just everything that you've gone?
Ghana
through
felt like the portal.
right.
It felt like I walked in and then I walked out and I'm like, yep, this is a decision I'm making to leave certain things behind and to step into the new. And so far it's going well.
Oh, congrats,
I'm
man.
liking it.
Congrats, come on.
Feels good.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
And I think let's like really just make it clear exactly what you do and also why you chose to go
what I
into
do.
therapy. Yeah.
Of course. So yeah, I'm a qualified, accredited CBT therapist. I work for the NHS full time. I'm also a qualified life coach, psychological based life coach. And the reason why I do what I do, I mean, essentially therapy and life coach work really nicely hand in hand. And I think that's something that I've been realizing since I've been rebranding, that I don't have to wear 2 hats. The 2 can really coincide and do that really well, in a sense that when you think of therapy, it's about looking at the past and thinking about, you know, difficult experiences you've been through and wanting to learn new ways of approaching life from those experiences, if that makes sense. From what we go through in life, that's how we base our reality and our world. And human beings are so great because we find ways to cope in every situation. However, what happens is often the ways that we've learnt to cope, we've now outgrown. So there might be certain ways of thinking that are no longer helpful, ways of behaving that are no longer helpful. So in therapy, you get the I guess, opportunity to try out different ways and to see a difference in your life. So it's kind of like looking at the past and bringing yourself in the present. Now, the coaching, you're in the present, it's going okay, but it isn't going great. You know that there's more for you, there's potential that you haven't unlocked. And you need someone to give you that blueprint to get you from being in the present to that future version of yourself. And that's the therapy pathway. So actually, what I have found with some clients, particularly who work with me for a longer duration of time, is we work on the stuff in the past, we get them in the present, and then when we're working on the present, we get them thinking about so what's the next version of yourself that you want to be? And that's where the coaching, the goal setting comes in. So it's kind of like a transition. And that's what I do.
It's mad, that's a sales pitch, because I was thinking to myself, I've got a therapist.
The two different things. I'm like, I need a life coach, actually.
I need a life coach.
I need to unlock some of this potential.
That's it, because not everyone is still kind of stuck in their traumas. Some people have kind of worked through their traumas and they've understood, unhealthy behaviors and patterns, and they've got new ones, but it's like, okay, now I'm healthy mentally, physically, I want to unlock that potential. I want to achieve those goals. I want to launch that business. I want to get that relationship I deserve. And that's where coaching comes in.
Okay.
So can I ask then as well, because I know that there'll be some people that think, well, why do I need to pay someone to kind of almost tell me things that like are already within me? Like, why should someone pay for someone else to kind of tell them things that maybe they can discover by themselves?
Okay, that's a great question. I mean, okay, so you know what you need to do, so why are you not doing it?
Sorry.
Why are you not doing it? And I'm not speaking to I'm speaking to myself. We all know. That's the thing about therapy as well, and sometimes it can be really frustrating as a therapist because people come and they're like, tell me what to do, like tell me the answers, and I'm like, I can't tell you the answers. I'm not here to advise you. I'm here to shine the light so you can see what's not working in your life, and together we work on how we can create things that are more workable. That's what you're paying for. You're paying for accountability. You're paying for, I guess, joint problem solving. But I would say the main thing is having that space to explore this stuff. Because a lot of the time we know what we need to do, but it's scary. Change is scary. And a lot of the time when people finish a course of therapy, there's some change in some way, and they might not know how to cope with that change. People around them might not know how to cope with that change. So rather than trying to do that yourself and then going out and being like, okay, how do I adapt? How do I adjust to my environment? Why not have a therapist to support you in how that looks, what that looks like afterwards as well? Because change is difficult. And we're interpersonal creatures. We're not just on our own. You don't just go to therapy and then you walk out and then what you've learned or your experiences don't rub off on other people. When you've heard a gem, you're going to your mum, your friend, your girlfriend, and letting them know that. So I think it is about understanding yourself, but it's also about learning knowledge to be able to share on and just to live a healthier life. And I don't think like it's something that's like a be all end all. I think you're always going to learn different things. There's always going to be changes. You even have people come in, we always have people come into like the service who are like, let's say 65, and they're like ready to retire, and they're like, okay, I'm at a new transition in my life, I need therapy. And it's not that they're necessarily going through any problems, it's just, this is a new chapter. What does this look like? I'm scared of the uncertainty. Help me work through that. How do I still create an identity once the identity of being, a parent, being a CEO, being someone's best friend, as you get older, you start to lose friends. When all those identities are gone, who am I? And you might need therapy for that. So it can be useful at all stages in life. And I think that's what's so powerful about it.
No, for real.
Good,
So,
I want to speak. I'm joking. Good.
So it's not a space that people should go to with the intention of seeking advice about something. It should just be with seeking the intention of being open about whatever situation in life you're at that time.
Exactly.
Okay.
Therapists are not like, if your therapist gives you advice, they're not doing the right thing. You're not supposed to give advice as a therapist, because who am I to tell you how to live your life? One of the things I say to my clients is, all right, we're going to work together for 12 weeks and I want you to try and step into my theory. We call it theories. My theory of being. you've got your theory A, I've got my theory B. For 12 weeks, I want you to commit to theory B and see what happens. If it doesn't work out, if you don't get better results than what you're getting in theory A, go back to theory A, and that's absolutely fine, you know. Hats off to you.
Yeah, because you solved it.
That's it. However, obviously what you'll find is that the theory B, the new way of thinking, makes more sense. It gives them better results than what they've got. But at no point am I saying this is the right way to be. Absolutely not. We all create our own frames of reference based on our experiences. And this is why even if you find people that are really quirky and might be doing things that you look at and be like, that's unhealthy. Who are you to say it's unhealthy? If it's not affecting them or affecting anyone else, let them be. You know, and that's how I see it. It's when it's causing an issue with your functioning. That's when I say, okay, speak to someone, get professional help. If you're struggling to have, you know, positive or neutral thoughts, if your thoughts are constantly negative, if you're finding it difficult to get out of bed in the morning, if you don't really see any value or purpose, if you're engaging in behaviours that are harmful to you, seek help. But if life is relatively okay, because remember, life is never going to be happy all the time, and it shouldn't be, then you're fine.
So Willa Smith read.
Do you have that question? Because I have.
What?
Can I ask?
I got a question.
Go on.
Okay, all right. So to kind of like, in fact, it's all about like millennials, creatives, and just the life around that. I think. Yeah, millennials are quite a substantial. No, not substantial. The word is we're a unique generation.
Yes, very.
And what we've seen and how quick things have changed and whatever. What would you say that as millennials, through your therapist lens, that we are too hard on ourselves about?
I would say our interpretation, if that's the right word, of success and whether we've achieved success. I think millennials are extremely hard on themselves with that because there's a lot of comparison. So like you said, we're part of the generation where, you know, you went to university, you got a job for life and you just worked your way up the career ladder. Then you look to the right of you and you see Gen Z absolutely creating
It's out here.
wealth, like serious wealth from their dreams.
Facts.
From their dreams, not even from working for someone else. And it's like, we're in the middle. It's like, what do we do? Where do we go? And, you know, because someone's managed to get a house and they're 19 years old and I'm 29, I'm still living at my mum's house, I'm a failure. No, you're not a failure. You're comparing yourself to a completely different generation. You're comparing yourself to different, what's the right word?
Metric.
Different narrative. When we were growing up, what we were told was success was you finding a good job and working your way up the ladder. So that's what most people have gone and done. Now we're looking around and we're seeing actually success is having a home, owning a home, not even renting, because if you're renting, fantastic. Yeah. I think that's an amazing achievement to move out of your parents' home and to have your own space.
Especially in London.
But that's not enough. You've got to own a house and have a car and earn money doing what you love.
Yeah.
So imagine like living and looking at someone's life and looking at your own and having to wake up at 6 a.m. on someone else's clock, you know. So I think that comparison, that unfair comparison is really what is keeping a lot of millennials in bondage. You know, it's the opportunities are different as well. Things that weren't acceptable at our time are now acceptable. So even then, if someone was going to go and, you know, say, bye mum, I'm going to go and pursue music, your mum would be like, absolutely not.
Don't do that.
Absolutely
Go
not.
be a doctor, a lawyer.
That's it. Whereas again, I think a lot of our parents, because I've got a brother who's Gen Z, they're a lot more like, oh, go ahead.
Yeah,
do what you want.
Innit?
You know, they see life differently now, and
exactly.
the pressures and stuff isn't the same. So yeah, I would say
success.
The view of success and what that means.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, being successful is actually being healthy. Being able to wake up every day. It's the small things. Having people around me that love me, you know, and care for me. Being able to go on holiday. Those are small successes that people don't see. So I think it's about finding your own definition of success and sticking to it. Doesn't matter whatever you see on social media, because again, they're showing you the highlight reel. So yeah, I think we're definitely too hard on ourselves with that. Too much comparison.
And on
That's
the flip
super
of that though, what do you think then, what do you think millennials, us, are maybe too slack on?
Discipline.
Okay.
I agree with this one, you know.
Why do you say that?
Why do I say that? I feel like it's very much because we're caught in that middle thing. And when I look at my parents, or not me looking at my parents, sorry, but when we look at our parents' generation, there is this kind of almost resentment sometimes of, that's not how I want to do it. I don't want to have to be forced to get married at a certain age, have kids at a certain age, like the very conventional stuff. But then there is that looking behind, and it's like almost that, it's not envy, but it is like, oh my gosh, like when you look at your younger brother, when I look at my younger sister and think, you're just out here, man. You're just doing your thing, like, and you have older siblings to like look up to for that, to learn from and everything. So I feel like because of being in that middle, and again, I could just be wrong, but my perspective, because we're in that middle, we try and bounce between the two, and it creates that lack of discipline where it's like, I'm gonna do this for now. Actually, no, that's not a good idea. Let me try and go back to the grounded thing a little bit more. Actually, no, that's dead. I'm going over here again.
And you know what my thought of for that is, when you say discipline, is also maybe even commitment, because we've grown up and we've watched our parents, like for instance, have those long marriages for 30, 50 years, or they've been in jobs for 30, 50 years, you know, they've stayed in the same location for 30, 50 years or whatever. And we're breaking those those molds now, where it's like, no, actually you don't have to get married, you don't have to stay in that relationship if you're not happy, you don't have to stay in that job if you're not happy. But we almost translate it in a way of like, the moment that we might feel a little bit like, I don't like this anymore, I'm off.
Yeah, exactly. No, I'm gonna do this.
That's it. Yeah. So because again, when you say like the long-term relationships, okay, yeah, you got numbers on you, 35 years, but that marriage was full of adultery. It was a shambles. Yes, absolute shambles. So obviously you see that and you're like, yeah, I'm not gonna do that. Obviously with jobs, like you said, you're working 20, 30 years in a company, your pension's been split in half because of the government. I don't want to do that. But then what do you want to do? And there's a lot of fear as well. I think a lot of fear is attached. I loved what you were saying, Lemzi, because I find myself like bouncing. I'm like, do I want to try something new? Because the world's my oyster and the opportunity is there now. But then I want my security, and then where do I spend my time? And it's tough. I think we definitely need to be kind to ourselves, and I think we need to be a bit more committed. I think we just need to make a decision and go for it, and acknowledge that even if something doesn't work out, if something fails, like that's just an opportunity to try something different. And I don't think millennials have that imprinted in their minds, whereas I feel like Gen Z do. If something fails, they're trying something different. I'm trying music, I'm trying acting, they bounce back very quickly from failure. And I think that's something that could really help millennials, because failure is just an opportunity to learn something new. If you're not failing, you're not learning. And that's what I tell myself every day. So of course I'm not going out to fail, but if I do, I've learned something new that I'm going to take forward for whatever else I'm going to look into.
And I guess also maybe what plays into our lack of discipline as well, the tangent, as I'm talking, the tangent has left my head, what I was going to say. But no, it's coming back. Because you were saying something, discipline. No, it's gone.
I was looking forward to it as well.
On top of,
if I remember, can I interrupt?
Of course, yeah. I'll be polite like that. I feel like value systems are a big thing as well. And when I say that, I feel like, again, because I don't know, our generation felt like we were at the cusp of
I'm really trying to remember it.
We were at the cusp of where things were changing from like analog to digital, and a lot of different variations we could see from the split. That Gen Z and younger cohort, Gen Z and younger cohort, I think have a slightly different value system to us, especially when it comes to stuff like empathy and balance in terms of work life and stuff like that. Because it's only now that we're even seeing stuff like, I might do a 4-day week. Do you know how long I've been thinking about this stuff and saying this kind of stuff? Like, why do we simple things like that? But we're so committed to that narrative, and unfortunately for us, we were ingrained in it. And it's like, do we break it? Do we not break it? And now they're just talking about like, we should just do it. And Gen Z people probably will just do it.
It's true.
I remember my point now.
Go on,
instant gratification. I feel like we're a generation of instant gratification. So maybe that lacks of our that plays into our lack of discipline and commitment, because it's like we just want things now, like we look like to our younger siblings, the generation below, and it's like, it's not, especially I think for like our age group, even because we're closer to the Gen Zs, like it's almost like, again, the tangent's gone.
No, I love the point you're making is making sense. I think
going on today.
No, I love what you're saying.
But it's come back now. But we look down at them and they're just getting it like that. Like they're literally just starting a YouTube channel, boom, flying. Even though they kind of struck when the iron was hot, they created that. They were their audience. They know their audience.
It. But that's it. I think it's opportunity. They've come in at a great opportunity for things. And when you say they've got it like that, I question that. Is it really like that? Because we don't really know. It takes time. And I do think, again, this is a theory. I'd love to do some research and actually see. But I have a feeling that Gen Z don't suffer with instant gratification as much as we do. Because I feel that instant gratification has a lot to do with trauma. It's like you've had a lack of something, so when you get something, you're going for it. If you've had a lack of fun because you've been the eldest child, as an eldest daughter, having to do all responsibilities in the house, cook, clean, wait for mum to get home, as soon as you get the chance to enjoy, you're going for it, and you're really going for it full force, because there's no moderation. It's either all lack and all gain. The same with money. For a lot of us, we grew up in poverty, so as soon as we started making money for ourselves, blowing it, buying takeaways, going out to eat, buying clothes that we don't need, and at the risk or at the cost is, like you said, maybe not having an asset. I think for a lot of us, we absolutely could have owned homes the amount that we made. However, like you said, it's the choices that we made, and I don't necessarily look down upon those choices, because I feel like for a lot of people, like you said, like I was saying, who have grown up in poverty and in dysfunctional households, I think having that sense of that dopamine release, whichever way it is important. I think it's really necessary to just see that actually life isn't all pain and suffering. You can go out and you can go shopping and buy nice food, but again, it's where does that end? That's where I think the adulting kicks in, and it's like, okay, you've played now it's time to rein it in. And for some people, again, they don't know when that switch happens, because it happens very quickly. But again, that's literally just a theory that came off the top of my head. I could be talking complete rubbish, but
I don't think you are, but I don't know if I agree.
Okay,
just because I'm not about the instant gratification.
Are you coming from my girl?
Tell your thoughts.
I'm joking.
I just, because when I look at it makes us feel like we're kind of old when we're talking about the younger generation sometimes, but
we're pushing 30s, you know what I mean?
Not young. I mean, I'm not old, but when I think about it, and I think about instant gratification, I just think they really have that in my head, because I think on the flip side of your theory, where there's the lack, I feel like if you have that in abundance, like let's say you might be the youngest sibling and you've got everything because it's just been given to you. Habitually, you just get used to that fact where it's like, okay, if I want it, it comes, kind of thing, where there isn't that sense of, oh, I might have to go over here for it, or divert off the path that's right in front of me to get that thing. So your association with gratification is that it does come a lot quicker in that instance. And then also when I think about the types of things that are available now, it's quick. Everything has a flip, whether it's Amazon giving you stuff straight away, TikTok, everything. As soon as you open the app, it makes a noise, it captures your attention to make sure you're there. And even with the way people express themselves on some of these things, like I think you mentioned the crying challenge before. When I saw some of that stuff, I thought,
it's like there are people that something's happened to them. Let's just say a lighter kind of situation, like maybe they've been stood up on a date. They will come on TikTok and be like, guys, so today I got dressed, or sometimes they're doing their makeup, or they're like doing something and they're actually crying, talking about, no, they're actually talking about being stood up, and it feels genuinely real. But I don't, and maybe this is me as a millennial just looking at like, but why do you need to put this on why? And also I remember there was a video that was like, if you're crying but you can film yourself, then it's clearly not that bad. Like, I just don't understand it.
I mean, it sounds like you guys didn't see the video that went viral.
What?
With the woman and her son in the car. Their dog died. Their dog died, and she was literally like, no, cry, like go on my shoulder, like literally telling her son to like fake his emotions for the TikTok.
Why is she filming that bit of it as well?
Because
he's telling her he's crying.
Oh, he's like, yo, I'm ready. I'm
He said, no. He says, I'm actually crying.
Oh,
and she's like, no, cry more.
Wow.
His mum.
So he's actually distraught that the dog is
our
dead.
age.
I don't know, but it's for TikTok. It's what you guys are talking about the crying on
That's
on
wild.
cue.
Maybe that's not even a generation. That's just
on that
this
note,
time of the world thing.
have there been certain like names or like diagnoses, is that the word, for things that have like mental health issues that are coming out of this realm of social media and this need to like, is there a condition where you can't eat your food before you snap it? If you know what I mean, like,
Probably.
It's like, are we nearly there yet?
Probably, yeah. I mean, there's definitely names. Do I know them? Probably not.
Okay.
But absolutely, there's many different phenomena. There's even the people that can't take pictures without a filter. That's a phenomenon in itself. FOMO came from the social media era. So yeah, there's definitely psychological theories. I mean, I don't know them off the top of my head, but we're living in interesting times.
Very.
I mean, it kind of either feels like you're just against it or you just get with it.
Yeah.
Because it ain't changing.
As someone who's like a qualified therapist, so you've had to study, do loads of years, etc.
Yeah.
How do you feel about when you see like social media therapists, not like people that are qualified on social media, but people who like self-ordain themselves as therapists?
But you know, I noticed when Paris was introducing herself, she kept saying qualified.
Yeah,
qualified,
accredited.
I have the letters.
Not just a motivational speaker. You know what I mean?
I like someone who just said, "Yeah, I do this. I've been doing this for a while. It's been like 6 months," and they've just been talking to themselves or their friends. Like,
if I'm honest, I think it's dangerous. I think it is dangerous because there's a lot of people out there who are giving advice based on their own experiences, and that's what I was saying. As a therapist, you're not giving advice because when you start giving advice, you're automatically biased because you're going based on your perception of the world. And this is why
I like that.
you go to school and how many role plays have I done in my life with different people to see what the dynamic looks like, to see what kind of things I'm bringing in a session, what they're bringing. I mean, I'm yet to see anyone call themselves a therapist that hasn't actually studied. I mean, they could be, but I'm yet to see that. But I think the area that's a bit more muddy is the coaches. Anyone could be a coach. It's an unregulated field, and I think that's why it was so important for me when I qualified as a coach to go to an actual institution to do my study. So I actually did my coaching course at Goldsmiths University. It cost me an arm and a leg, and I didn't need to do it because it's unregulated. And there's a coach that's done her course on Udemy, and I'm not downplaying anyone. But I'm just saying it's important to really know your field and to have a level of knowledge before firstly taking people's money, but secondly supporting people. This is people's lives. If you give the wrong advice or you make a mistake, it could be life or death. And I think that's why it's so important to know what you're getting into. It's all great, if you've had an unhealthy relationship and you want to give back that information and advice, but call yourself an advocate. Phrase it correctly. If you want to be a life coach, if you want to be a therapist, you need to get the qualifications for that. And there's reasons why. It isn't just the how to do it, it's the stuff behind it, the ethics and all that kind of stuff. So it is a concern for me, and I do sometimes look left. However, I face forward because I know, what I'm doing, and I just hope that people are able to discern, who's right for them and who isn't. And I have worked with some people who have had, therapists or coach who they haven't felt has given them the right support because maybe they, didn't quite have a certain level of education or whatever it is. And of course, it's not the be all and end all. You can always find someone else. Just like, a therapist who has gone and studied may not be the right fit for you. But I just think you need to be very mindful and discerning, because you could take that information and make life changes that are permanent based on something that isn't quite right. But again, that's social media for you.
Yeah.
I've seen it with so many things, There's a lot of, like, if we're thinking about music, and I'm quite passionate about music, I absolutely love music. There's a lot of artists who, it's in their fibre. They play instruments. They've studied this thing. They've, learnt from the greats and and then there's people who just think, oh yeah, I want to be a musician because it looks fun and you make a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I find that quite concerning.
However, you're right, because I'm very meticulous with I'll never usually say I'm a musician, because I don't know how to read music. I don't know how to play any music instruments. I know how to rap and use my words, kind of thing, and associate that with music. So I'd say
that's
artist.
An instrument. Okay, I get you.
Yeah, so I'd say I'm an artist for that reason, just because there is that distinction. There's an overlap, but that distinction, similarly when you say therapist, coach, advocate, like I feel it's important to know your labels if you're going to use labels.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So what's your thoughts, right, on because we spoke about this briefly on our like unpacked version. So obviously I've started therapy, this, you helped me find my therapist. And I was one of those people that would go to the gym and be like, gym is therapy for me. Or like you'd see a lot of people talking about, sitting in your car before you go in the house is therapy for me. No, but I was one of these people, like retail therapy. And then I started to think to myself, like going to the gym and having therapy sessions, yes, going to the gym, I feel good, positive hormones are being released in my body, but it's actually not the same thing as sitting in a therapy session and having someone help you unpack traumatic experiences and like take the things out of it that are important and like learn to leave the things behind that aren't helpful anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, how would you almost define the difference between what's therapeutic for you, like doing things that can be calming and maybe aid stuff, and then the real difference as being in a therapy session? And also on that is podcasts. There's a lot of people that have started podcasts now, and you hear they'll have the conversations almost unpacking their traumas and stuff, and for them they might feel like, yeah, this is therapy for me. But what's the actual difference between doing something therapeutic and actually having therapy sessions?
What do you think?
I think there's a bloody difference.
What do you think the main difference is?
I think, like I said in the last session, I was like, me going to the gym, the treadmill is not going to then hold me accountable on certain things.
Yeah.
The treadmill is not going to say, no, Amelia, but have you noticed there's been a pattern in this? Or have you noticed? No, the treadmill's going to let me run for as long as I want to run for until I make a decision that like I'm tired, I'm going to go forward. Whereas when I sit in my therapy sessions, there's times that I actually just need to sit and listen to what she's almost picked up from what I've said, which we can't step out of ourselves sometimes and do that. And also our friends, again, they're going to come from their own lens at looking at you and whatever. So they might just tell you things you want to hear. They might tell you the version of you that they feel that they see or come from their point of view. But there's a difference in terms of like accountability, which also we spoke about. I think a lot of people try to escape accountability. But therapeutic and therapy.
I think to have therapy, you need to have the interpersonal aspect. You need to have that. There needs to be another person, and it's a process. Therapy is actually a process, like you said, of unpacking, unlearning, learning. By going and buying clothes, you're not doing any of that. What you're doing, yes, is making you feel good, which can eventually come out of therapy. But therapy doesn't feel good in the beginning. It's actually quite painful.
So with podcasts, have you seen there's been a lot of like clips coming out, and I will highlight men sitting around together talking about women, saying things that are actually quite toxic, but almost in an echo chamber, in this pool of just toxicity where no one's correcting anyone, no one's holding anyone accountable. They're all there like, yeah. And for them, they might feel, yeah, we're getting the things off my chest. I've found people that they resonate with my thoughts and feelings, and it feels like a safe space. But actually, I look at that space and I'm like, you've got young boys watching this. thinking that this is okay. They're learning that these attitudes are okay. There's no one in that room to hold anyone accountable. I love podcasts. Obviously, I'm a big believer in talking and almost outwardly processing certain stuff, but I feel like it's like where are we going now? Are we just going to be projecting our toxic views out, and no one gets held accountable, and everyone just thinks you're getting dragged on the timeline? No, it's because you said something problematic.
Yeah.
One guy said the value of women goes down to every time she gives birth. That pregnancy. Well, I watched the guy, I don't even want to name his name, in America.
Oh.
He said every time a woman gives birth, her value goes down because she loses her elasticity in her vagina. Are we all right? So firstly, your mother lost some value giving birth to you. What are you talking about? Imagine bringing life into the world and that decreases your value.
It's mad. So again, this... It's hard because, like you said, if you think about what podcasts are for, ultimately they're for entertainment. So if you're going on a podcast to hear your daily sermon, I'm sorry, sir, you need to be more discerning. And I think that's our thing as well. We need to hold people accountable who are going and preaching and holding these people on pedestals. Nah, this is the way to be. I've seen a lot of it, and I find it very, very, very troubling. I find it even more concerning when women are part of those conversations and bigging it up. However, again, maybe they're a safe space because they're speaking about things that they, all agree with. But that's the problem. That's all people with the same mindset. There's no one there to challenge. There's no one there to give a different perspective. So already, that's not going to be a therapeutic experience, because therapy is about challenging your already learned beliefs. Whether you take on what the therapist says or not, it's about giving you a different perspective. It's about letting you see your blind spots. By sitting in a room with everyone who has the same beliefs as you ain't seeing no blind spots. You're just festering and encouraging what you already believe. So for me, I think, like I said, therapy is a process. I can't really explain it more than that. However, going to the gym is a way of coping with psychological distress. Retail therapy, binge eating, they're ways of coping. It's not therapy, because therapy is about exploring what you're doing, what is no longer working. Because the truth of the matter is, for a lot of people, they absolutely use gym as a way of coping. It's a healthy way. So it's kind of acceptable, but anything that's done in excess is unhealthy. So again, your friends seeing you go to the gym and really like buffing up, they're gonna be like, "Nah, you look sick. You changed your life around," but they don't know the reason why you're doing it. High achievers, you got 3-5 businesses on the go. Everyone's like, "Oh my God, you're a boss, babe. You're living your life," but they don't know why you're doing it. You're doing it because of imposter syndrome, of low self-esteem. If you ever show anyone any sense of failure or stop working, stop being busy for a moment, all of those negative thoughts come to your mind. That's the part that people don't see. That's the part that the therapist noticed. So yeah, I think it's difficult to unpick, because like I said, a behaviour that is extremely helpful for someone can be extremely unhelpful for someone else. And how do you know that? That's when you sit in front of someone and you're able to figure out what makes sense for you. For a lot of therapists, we encourage people to go to the gym. For some people, it's actually, you need to do something else. You need to have more of a balance.
But for people who, they might hear everything you've just said, but then their response might be, I don't feel like I've got anything wrong with me. I don't really feel like I need to sit down and chat to anybody about anything. What would your, not advice, because we're not giving advice in it, but is there any kind of suggestion or recommendation based off of that, where it's like, do you still say that therapy is something for everybody, or is it more a case of when you feel like you might need to unpack something, that's when you should get therapy?
The second one.
Okay.
I think if something isn't broken, don't fix it. I personally believe every single person has trauma. Of course, we're not measuring trauma, but I think every single person, even if it's that your pet died, or you witness someone fall over. I treated a client not long ago, actually, who witnessed a fight in school, in primary school. She was 11 years old. When I treated her, she was maybe about like 33. That was so traumatic for her. Literally, playground fight, kids are quite vicious. Someone hit someone with a shoe. There was a lot of blood. She was traumatized. Till this day, she is scared of blood, and at first we thought it was a blood phobia, but it was actually trauma. So we did a whole piece of PTSD work. So I believe everyone has experienced some type of trauma. Does everyone need therapy for their trauma? No, because some people have learned and processed it. It's when it's unprocessed. It's when you've created unhealthy ways of dealing, behaviours, and they keep playing themselves out, and you keep getting the same results, and it's painful. So do I believe that everyone needs therapy? Probably. But does everyone need therapy at the same time? Absolutely not.
So what about also the people that, for instance, might say, you know, I don't need therapy, but someone else knowing them is that you have these harmful habits that like you're going around and you're causing harm to other people. Like let's talk about BMBs, bare minimum boys. That's the name of it.
Oh my God, I've never heard that before.
I've coined the term. I've trademarked the term. I'm gonna have to BMB, bare minimum boys. Now, when I say that, what do you think of bare minimum boys?
What comes to my mind is boys who are absolutely emotionally unavailable. They want connection, but they don't know how to really receive it. They'll keep you around, give you the bare minimum, and then dust out whenever it doesn't suit them.
Yeah, there we go. Everyone knows what a BMB is. Wait. Yeah, go on.
Is this a trait that you lot think is more in guys than it is in girls?
Have I met a bare minimum girl? I don't know.
What, someone's emotionally unavailable, they're just gonna give you the bare minimum, then they S out when they're done. Does that not happen?
As a woman and having friends, I would say it's more common in men because of society. So for women, of course, yeah, certain women, they're emotionally unavailable. They're not really, ready to settle down and whatnot. But because of the biological clock, because of society, you must be ready, ready to marry by 30. They might start to think, actually, I need to start, considering this. They might go to therapy. They might say, I've noticed this pattern and I'm ready to break it because I'm ready to take that next step. As we know, a lot of men we can have kids until we're 100. there tends to, again, the lack of accountability.
Yeah.
So they just continue with that lifestyle. And then unfortunately, we have a lot of women who have experienced certain things, who have low sense of self-worth, and who allow these boys to get away with this. Because we can't all blame them. We have to hold women accountable as well. The two play into each other. It's the bare minimum boys and the women with low self-esteem. That's the toxic pair.
Definitely. And this is so back to the scenario, because there'll be a lot of BMBs that think that they don't need therapy because they just think, this girl getting too attached or like whatever. But when you really look at the situation, I'm sorry, but firstly, you never set your intentions. You never made them clear from the get-go. You've allowed them to be interpreted in different ways to get what you want from the situation. Whether it is just to sleep with them, whether it's just to have company, whatever. You've allowed them to just believe this fantasy. And also onus on the girl though as well for maybe not being clear and asking the right questions and not noticing these certain patterns. But most BMBs probably won't go to therapy because they because they generally probably think I'm not really doing anything, innit? It's these girls that probably just got an issue. Like, how do you get through to someone like that where actually no, you are like, it is your behaviors are having an impact on others, extreme impact.
Is it that their behaviors causing an issue or reinforcing an issue?
Well, shout out to Siobhan Will, my therapist babe in this field. We had a chat and we came up with a theory based on the book Attached. What happens in the dating pool at the moment, bare minimum boys are boys with avoidant attachment styles.
What is that, sorry?
So avoidant attachment style is someone who is fearful of commitment. They're commitment phobes. They don't really want to get too close because, again, you might see something. So they'll kind of engage in a certain level of intimacy, but not too much. They're the ones that will see you for 5 years, but you're not their girlfriend. It's the title.
Situationships.
Literally.
Past 30.
The title for them, it's just, I can't. It's too scary. Because you're basically in a relationship with that girl. You know, you do everything together. She's met your parents, but you can't with the title. That's literally avoidance. What happens is, like what Amelia was saying about the way they interact, they end up creating or attracting girls with insecure attachments. So you know when they're saying, oh, you're doing too much, you're too clingy. Well, opposites attract. If someone's repelling, you're going to go forward, you're going to go closer. So that's why you often get, you know, the guys that are pulling away and then the girls that are, where are you going, feeling like, you know, I need to do more for him. And it's that, like I said, the toxic pair. And the idea is that people that have more of a secure attachment type, they're off the market. Because they've realised actually,
like in a relationship,
my intentions are this, your intentions are this, let's go. So often you see the mixture of people with avoidant attachment styles and insecure attachment styles, and they just keep bouncing between.
I felt extremely triggered just then when you said
oh my god!
I was thinking like, right.
I mean, guys, not completely.
We
but
needed that song. Act like you know. Act like you know.
can you kind of see what I'm saying? And then it's just the kind of the two just.
I see how the two complement each other in a not
bad
very good way.
Yeah.
But even in the way you've described it, it sounds like the man has not been upfront about but this is what I'm saying, like, is it not a balance thing? Are there not women who are also just not upfront about what they're looking for at the
100%.
same
There's
time?
avoidant women, 100%. It's just an attachment style. I know some avoidant women, absolutely. But again, I think we do definitely see it more with the guys, especially when it's like you're trying to settle down and you meet someone and they're just, their intentions are not clear. Yeah.
So how do we get the BMBs in therapy?
It's a tricky one, you know. My advice would be that the girls that are liaising with them, the girls that find themselves attracted to that type of person, or not even attracted, because we can all be attracted, accepting. We can all be attracted, accepting the BMB. They need to work on their attachment.
I love how you're using the term.
But you see, okay, so with that, that then sounds like the girl needs to get therapy in order to understand.
The girl is
how
getting
to
therapy.
Absolutely, to break.
The girl is getting therapy.
Absolutely, to break that cycle. And then let's just say the BMB then finds a woman who, you know, has a secure, and she's like, all right, this is what I want,
Yeah.
and I'm not settling for anything less. He likes her, he vibes with her, and she's like, do you know what, you're not giving me what I deserve, take care. He then thinks, oh, he has a different experience. Then he thinks, oh, that's not happened to me before, why did that happen? Then there might be a glimpse of hope for him to be like, okay, I lost someone who, you know, I actually let me consider. The thing is, you can't force anyone to have therapy. That's the thing. And that's why I always say, when we're asking for other people to seek support or whatever, it's a waste of time. We have to just do it ourselves. So if we find that we're around those types of people, there's no point of, it's a waste of energy. Because even if they do it, if they don't feel like there's a problem, it's a waste of time. Someone needs to see a problem in order for it to be fixed. If you don't see a problem, then why are you going to seek out any solution?
See, with that, is there any evidence of, like, there are people who they just seem beyond the help of therapy, like therapy's not actually going to help them?
I don't think so. I think there's definitely people who are at times treatment resistant. Usually you find people that are very intuitive and very self-aware because they know everything. So it might be a different kind of therapy, you know, maybe even like a hypnosis that might help for them, or even like life coaching, because it's like they know everything. It's just about the accountability, the discipline to actually take action. Because you get that. Some people are like, I know this, I know what I need to do, I know that. So why are you not doing it? That's the problem. I don't think anyone's beyond therapy. And I think there are studies that say that people that have sort of sociopathic personality traits, psychopathic personality traits, therapy doesn't work for them. But that's just because, again, their frame of reference is completely different. The way they relate to people is very different. It's all about manipulation and control. So you can imagine what the therapeutic relationship will look like. It's not going to be balanced. It's going to be a lot based on what we want you to see, not the truth. Do you see what I mean? They're going to give the therapist what they think the therapist wants to hear, which is all about manipulation. So then it's a waste of time. It's not going to work. And that's why you often see people who have come out of narcissistic relationships with people with narcissistic personality disorders or traits, where they just feel like, where do I go from here? Because those individuals find it very hard to look within. My understanding of NP and narcissistic personality disorder,
I was going to ask you that.
My understanding of NPD basically is that the person's experienced an extreme trauma in childhood, and as a way of coping, they've created this personality that is all about protection. It's that no one is ever going to criticize me. I'm the best thing ever. I'm very grandiose. It's all about protection. So on the outside, you might see it as confidence and arrogance, but actually it's to ward you away. So they will go to any lengths to ensure that, you know, they're held to a certain standard. And often they do hurt people often they hurt people as a result of it. And I think often, you know, again, there's a certain toxic pair there. They tend to attract empaths.
Because did narcissists lack empathy?
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's one thing I remember
one of the key
reading from
traits,
somewhere.
isn't it?
Yeah, like they lack empathy, and then empaths always, they think they can
They
come
just
and
keep
help
giving,
everyone.
that's
They want
it.
to give. They want, and
That's
narcissists
it.
will just take.
Absolutely. But then again, it's like when you're in a therapeutic space, it's hard to penetrate that onion peel to actually get to the person underneath, because that's been built up over so many years as a form of protection. So yeah, I guess it's a difficult one. I think everyone can, but not everyone is easy to penetrate, basically.
No, fair.
Because you really need to be talking to the soul in therapy, not what the person wants you to see.
And you need to be very open and willing to share. And yeah, because I even find that, like, in my sessions, yeah, you have to just be very willing to just pull and, like, just from any experience. And I guess if you're trying to calculate, well, what do they want me to say?
Exactly.
I can't even imagine doing that. That's just
all of
too...
a sudden you're performing as
Yeah,
well.
you're
It's like-
It's counterproductive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just a waste of time. Just an absolute waste of time. Just wasting a therapist's time. Okay.
A last question for you, because you actually wrote this one down, and I think it's a
Is
sick
it
question.
the last? What have we...
Yeah, man. Yeah, we get
I'm
into time. I
enjoying
know.
this. There you go.
But this last question is, who is the therapist? Like, who does-
Therapists. Therapists.
do you have your own therapist as
I
well?
don't. Not at the moment, no.
Okay.
But I will when I feel like I need it. At the moment, who is my therapist? Not really therapist, but who I go to for my support and to have my safe space to talk and offload is in supervision. So every therapist has supervision, which is a space where we kind of talk about, you know, what we're experiencing personally, but also our clients and how to work with different clients. I know there are certain modalities where when you're training specifically, it's mandatory to have your own therapy, usually like counselling or psychodynamic therapy, again, because that's a lot about the subconscious relationship between the two. If you ain't worked through your stuff and someone triggers you in a session, how are you going to react?
Yeah.
Not respond, how are you going to react? 'Cause remember, we're very emotive creatures. So it is important for you to obviously work on your stuff. But yeah, therapists. I don't currently have mine, but it's definitely something that I'm going to look into in the near future. But like I was saying earlier, I just don't feel like at the moment, if I was to have a therapist, it wouldn't be the best use of the therapist or my time, because there's something else that I need.
Yeah,
I need a coach.
I think I'm with you, because I had a therapy session yesterday, and it did just feel like we were kind of wasting each other's time. It just didn't feel like we were developing much of a rapport. We will get into the kind of questions that I would have anticipated would be necessary if I'm doing therapy. But now you've said the whole life coach thing, I feel like that actually is something that I'm definitely more going to be looking at.
Yeah. It's all about the feeling, isn't it?
Yeah.
If
no,
someone's
facts,
talking
facts.
to you, or even just shine a light and you just find, oh, you burst into tears. Yeah. There's a wound there that you need. There's a wound that you need to heal.
Yeah. But I think also it's just, because I know for me the decision I made was I could feel myself, one, being in two like situations that were just too similar. I was like, this is becoming a thing with me.
A pattern.
You know what I mean? And I was like, I'm tired of it. I'm either gonna lose my shit and smash everything, or I'm gonna go to therapy. And I said, well, obviously I'm gonna go to therapy. But then also I then started to just think, where is this coming from? Yeah. And then I would think, oh, is it that? And then I would go back even more and even back. And I was like, do you know what? This is almost too much for me to try and break down. And I could talk to my mum and stuff about it as well. But then I was like, but then you need that therapy as well. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I just thought I need someone who's objective that also is going to give me the time to just allow me to talk it through.
Yeah.
So but yeah, if you don't feel like that, you don't have to do it. You know,
I don't feel like that. I'm alright, I think.
Yeah, that's good. But yeah,
all right.
I love this.
At this point,
nice.
We want to go to the in facts or opinions, though.
Okay.
Where just before we go, we like to just recommend something or say a fact or even just an opinion, anything that you know or learn. Maybe it's a quote, a phrase, TV show that you want to let people know about. We'll also do one as well.
Okay.
But we'll start with you, Paris, our guest.
The Shrink Next Door.
What is it?
On Apple TV.
Did you watch it?
No, I've just started it. Yeah.
The Shrink Next Door. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to see therapy go extremely left, watch it. Very comical, but also very scary that, someone can abuse their power in that way. So yeah, The Shrink Next Door.
I need to finish it.
You need to finish it. We need to discuss after.
Okay, I need to finish it. Okay. All right. I think I've got a fact. I was going to do Would You Rather, but I'll save that for another time. I know, I like doing my Would You Rather. Okay, no, really quickly, let me ask you. Because I asked you before.
Okay, cool.
And I was just thinking about it more, and I was like, no, I think we could unpack this. So I love me. Would you rather, yeah? Okay. Would you rather be able to hear everyone else's thoughts all the time? Yeah? You can't switch it off. You can, sitting in this room right now, you'll hear all of our thoughts. Or everyone being able to hear your thoughts all the time.
I think everyone hearing my thoughts,
Swear.
The thought of being overwhelmed with everyone's thoughts, it would feel too unfamiliar. I think a lot of people have quite noisy heads. My head's really empty. I'm really absent-minded. There's not much that happens, which means I forget things often. So automatically hearing everything, I don't think I could cope with that. Hear my business, please. Hear my business. I'll just be mindful who I'm around. You might have seen me, because sometimes my thoughts can be bad minds. But hear my thoughts, please.
I forgot to ask about intrusive thoughts as well, but
for another time.
We'll park that. But see, because you said you'd rather hear everyone else's thoughts.
Yeah, man. I think it's just, I don't know if I want the exposure of my thoughts being out there for everyone. I feel like if it's everybody's thoughts, I won't even be able to discern who's thinking what. So say in this room, there's already a few people. So I'd be like, all right, bat. And I'll move on. Whereas if it's mine, I'm not, look, even the way you lot are looking at me now, I don't want that.
So wait, so let's just say you get on the plane now, you can hear the pilot going, fucking hell, I don't even think I can fly this plane. I'm still hanging out my ass. And he's about to fly the plane. What
problems? I'll have to go and announce it to somebody, innit?
Yeah, but you gonna think, mate, I didn't say anything. Who are you?
I said, bro, test me. They'll test me and I'll read your mind.
No, then you're getting carried off that plane. In a straight jacket, you're getting carried off.
It's a superpower, trust me. If I can read minds, it's better than everyone reading mine.
Okay.
I'm gonna write on
Hey,
that.
Reezy, Jordan. Which one?
You know what, yeah? I feel like I'd actually prefer people to hear mine. Because I've taken a vow of I don't know, I try to be more honest in life now, yeah? It would be very liberating. It would just be it is what it is, isn't it?
You've got to deal with it.
Now.
Yeah.
Boy, do you know what I mean? How are you feeling about it? Because it's the truth, innit?
It's true though, isn't it?
Yeah.
All you have to do is just sit there and look at the person, innit? And they'll be like, right, yeah.
But it could
yeah.
It could be rage. It could get rage, but it's boy,
that's it.
It is what it is, isn't it? That's just exactly what it is. How I'm feeling, baby girl.
At least you'll be a B&B though, innit? Because you won't be able to hide that shit. I'm about to do nothing for this girl.
I don't know, for me, I'd rather be able to hear everybody else's thoughts. I can't lie.
Okay.
I feel like
B&B.
Yo, you lot extroverts, that's all it is.
Of what kind of situation I'm in at all times. Therefore,
Okay.
I'm at peace. I'm at peace knowing, okay, cool, this guy hates me, and this guy hates me. So I know for a fact, those two guys are not somebody or people that I'm trying to like interact with at all.
What about you?
Well, the plot twist is, guys, I can already hear your thoughts, you know. I'm
Dun,
actually
dun,
part of the
dun.
Avengers. I've got to go and join them in about 2 minutes. I'm
So
joking.
done with you.
No, do you know what? I think I'd rather people hear mine, you know, because for the first like week, 2 weeks, it's going to be awkward as hell. I'm just going to be like, for fuck's
Then after
sake,
that,
man.
chilling.
Like, it's going to be annoying. But then I'm just going to be known as that girl. Like, don't fuck with her because she's being
She'll tell you exactly what she thinks, innit?
And then I'll just, you know what I mean? Won't really talk too much, innit? I'll just look at people. Yeah,
know.
innit? Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah. Do you know what I mean? And just pattern myself as well. I'll pattern it. Meditate every day. Feel
Clear
good
mind.
Yeah, good thoughts.
You're so silly.
But yeah, that's what I would
man.
do. But and then round up. Now you round up, Lems. That was my. What would you rather?
What would you rather?
Comment to every episode. Go on.
Yeah, chill, man. I'll do a recommendation. I recommend a good throwback tune called Wind Parade by Donald Byrd. You lot, yeah. It's old school. Ask your parents. Don't know.
Oh,
I'm actually
That
gonna do
old
that.
school, yeah.
what is it? Jazz or something?
Yes.
I knew it.
Yeah.
You look like a jazz artist today.
I know,
Isn't
that
it?
was my thing. I was like, when I
Got your
deliver the fact,
saxophone
I
at
just
the
want to
back
make sure I
there.
look the part, you know what I mean? Looks good though, right?
yeah, you look good. All right, we're gonna wrap
Same
it up.
is. All right.
We're gonna wrap it up. Thank you very much, Paris, for joining us and just
Paris,
all that
Let
knowledge.
them know where they can find you as
Yeah.
well. Please.
So you guys can find me on my Instagram. It is paris.lalove. So that's LALOVE. Can you find me anywhere else?
on TikTok.
I'm on TikTok. Paris.lalove on TikTok as well. And that's it for now. Website and stuff coming soon.
Pending.
Yeah. Watch this
Sick.
space.
Dope.
100% we will be, man.
Yeah, we will be. But thank you very much for joining us, our first guest.
Thank you for having me.
And shout out to the Cube for having us
Every single
in the
time.
space. Shout out to New Motion Visuals for filming it. And shout out to us for bringing you in facts. Bring
Big up
facts.
you.
Yeah. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe.
Gang.
Someone's going to get hurt.
My intuition's telling me I'll never listen to myself. I should probably listen to myself. That position I was in, if I'd have listened, maybe I could help.